So now we're going to move back to the Inner Ionian Sea and to a case study on the Mediterranean monk seal, which, as we discussed, is endangered according to the IUCN Red List. The Ionian monk seal subpopulation is smaller and more isolated than the Aegean subpopulation and has a lower genetic diversity. In fact, the Ionian monk seal subpopulation might still qualify as critically endangered. The distribution here, you can see the distribution of the Mediterranean monk seal. There are currently about 700 Mediterranean monk seals in the world. In yellow here you have the ancient distribution, in yellowish greenish colors, and then in pink you see the areas where most of the Mediterranean monk seals are currently present. The dangers that these species are facing are numerous, primarily or mostly related to fisheries or to fishing, like intentional killings, habitat disruption by tourism, by catching fishing gear, explosive fishing with explosive, which obviously can have major damage in these animals, overfishing, depletion of the fish and their prey, and obviously degradation of the habitat. So the Inner Ionian Sea might be considered as a pristine area with these turquoise waters and areas that are, some of the areas are quite remote and provide perfect habitat for the Mediterranean monk seals. So you can see here an area where we see nobody around and the Mediterranean monk seal peacefully swimming around. For instance, here you see in this beach a large black male of a monk seal that is resting, sleeping on this quiet area. This is an image provided by a local kayaker that was there. This was an image recorded during this is a video recorded during the lockdown, when nobody was allowed to go around, and he was lucky to basically wake up from his tent after being kayaking in the area, and the following morning he woke up and this large black male was, laying beside him. This area that you see here is exactly the same beach in the summer. So you can see that obviously in this area there is presence of, as soon as the summer starts to get busy, there are visitors, there are boats visiting the area, bringing people to do snorkeling and to swim around, and they cause obviously an impact because they disturb the seals, some people swims around and enters their caves, etc., etc. So obviously especially during the summer months, when the tourism increases quite importantly in the area, the seals have no other alternative than actually or to move away from the area or to learn to play hide and seek with the tourists. There is an increasing pressure in this area because the word has spread around and people are starting to notice that the seals are present in the area. And some years ago, people would go to the Inner Ionian Sea to simply enjoy their sailing and swim in very clean and very appealing waters. But now there are certain spots in which the word has gone around and people know that the seals are there, and actually they are going there not anymore to swim, but actually to swim with the seals, and which obviously is causing an important pressure on these endangered species. Another example, these are images all taken by the Ionian Dolphin Project, in which in the bottom left, you can see some people in the water actually swimming and trying and approaching a juvenile seal that is highlighted there with the yellow arrow that you see. In the other photos, you see some paddle surfers that are approaching the seals or observing them. Also, fisheries, of course, have an impact in the area. Small-scale fisheries are also present in the area. A recent study that we conducted with the interviews with the fishermen showed that a large majority of fishermen from the inner Ionian Sea considered the monk seals as the main cause of net damage, followed by dolphins and sea turtles. So putting all this together, the situation of monk seals present in the inner Ionian Sea archipelago, regularly visited by small-scale fishing boats, boaters, and large load yachts taking tourists to swim and to visit its caves, is a reason of a strong concern. I'm going to show you now some images provided by an autonomous monitoring system that we use in collaboration with Octopus Foundation that allow us to observe what goes on in some of these beaches. This footage, as you can see in the top left corner of the video, you can see that this footage was taken on the 7th of January on 2021. So there is a significant presence there aren't many areas in the Mediterranean where you can see such a concentration of seals in just one cave. Here we have about 10 animals altogether. As I said earlier, photo identification is also used to study the monk seals in the area, which allow us to produce a population estimate, how many monk seals use the area, but also to look at their site fidelity, if those seals that are present in the area are always the same ones, or are just transient animals that come from time to time and disappear and are never seen again. Now we know, thanks to photo identification, that these or most of these seals, although might not be strictly speaking resident of this area, are present and are regularly using the area. As you see in these photos that are taken, all photos belong to the same seal, but they are from year 2014 all the way down to year 2020. In 2021, we also saw this seal. And then we are using also acoustic new techniques like acoustic monitoring and drones, UAVs, to do some footage, to look at as you see here, that provides information on behavior and also helps to the photo identification of the animals. We know now that in this area in the inner Ionian Sea, there are several sites that have importance in terms of reproductive sites, are important areas for reproduction of the species. This is a case, for instance, of one of the caves that is being monitored with one of those autonomous systems. We see here a small monk seal, a pup that was spotted in July 21 of this year, 2021. We saw that a day later, the pup was still present in the same cave. Unfortunately, 2 days later, on the 23rd of July, there was no trace of the pup, but there was clear indication of human presence. We see here that a dinghy of some tourists was beached in the area, and they were probably snorkeling around inside of the cave and also in front of the cave. As you see here, during the same day, you see some paddle surfers also. This is right in front of the cave that you just saw. There was no trace of the pup in the cave from that day, and you see here that these paddlers are looking there. You can guess from the silhouette that they were looking at the seal, most probably the mother that was still in the area. So we are also, in order to prevent or to try to show to the people that this kind of behavior is not acceptable and that has an impact on the animals, through the Ionian Dolphin Project website, we are trying to promote very basic codes of conduct, guidelines on what should be allowed or how people should behave when encountering dolphins and seals at sea. In our website also there is an online catalog on the monk seals that have been identified so far in the area that can be viewed and can be seen online. And if somebody wants to actually have access to the full catalog, they can contact us, and we are willing to share the catalog with other researchers and with other scientists doing research and conservation on these species in the area. And then there is a management plan in progress for this particular inlet, in which we are seeing a high density of monk seals, and we see an increase in pressure from the human presence. All those photos that you saw in this presentation of people interacting with the seals, and the last example of disturbance that I showed of the people getting inside of the cave when a pup was in the area, were taken in this area. So we are working on a management plan. We are helping, there is a management plan in progress that should develop management measures in order to prevent or to protect the seals in the area. But of course, for a management plan, for the implementation of a management plan, we need several pieces of the puzzle to come together. It is crucial to have to count with the stakeholders' involvement. It is very important that the regulations are enforced. It is equally important surveillance systems that actually help us or help the authorities or those in charge of the law enforcement to keep an eye in the area and what is happening there. And also equally important, it is the education and the awareness of the citizenship. Some of those people that we saw on those images that we saw earlier on tourists going in the water with the seals or so, are not necessarily do not necessarily have a bad intention, but they need to be informed. They need to be aware that that is not acceptable, that that can have a very serious impact on the species, and to educate and to let the people know what is the best behavior that we can have when encountering these fragile and vulnerable animals at sea. So thank you very much. And if you need to contact, if you have any further questions on the Ionian Dolphin Project and on the research that we conduct, you can send me an email to this address, joangonsalvo@gmail.com. Thank you very much.